Spiritual Seeker here at Goods Holistic Healing. Last week we made a video and I said that I was not guided. Then later on in the video I said I had been guided to do exactly what I did. So this time I got up and I was guided. I knew my guidance. I was guided not to make this video until I had watched the last video. I needed the inspiration from the last video and see where I was going before I could make this video, and that's where my guidance was. So we're going to talk about guidance today and why we don't always see it when it comes to us. You know, each and every one of us in our path, whatever that may be, if we sit and listen, we can have the guidance that we're supposed to have, and we can follow it or not follow it. We have that free will. So why don't we follow it? If the proper path is to follow the guidance of the universe, why don't we follow it? Well, I'm under the understanding and I'm under the belief that we don't follow it because of the conditioning we've had. That cellular memory that was created as an infant, that cellular memory that was created as we grew up in our teen years, whatever it might have been. We were told what was acceptable and what was not acceptable. Not only outwardly to showing to people, to showing to the world, to showing to our group, our clique, whatever it is, but also what is acceptable inside of us. What can we expect ourselves to do? And when something comes out of that and is not part of our own ideas, our own cellular memory, what we've been conditioned to, we say, oh, that's no good. We live in a very evidentiary world where we have to have scientific evidence for everything. And scientific evidence is not there to prove the spiritual path. It just can't do it. But yet we try to see, well, what's the evidence of this? What's the evidence of that? So the cellular memory is what keeps us from following our guidance. We spoke about that in a few videos ago about how cellular memory can be traumatic to the point where we fall back into those feelings. But we also fall back into the acceptance of other people. We fall back into what we've been taught in our spiritual gatherings. We fall back into what we've been taught as acceptable in society, in our school life, in our work life, in our play life. And we don't go all out. We're not true to ourselves. Remember, I've used that phrase before, to thine own self be true. And so what it is about, the whole process is about breaking out of those routines, breaking out of those accepted things and doing what's right for you. Being the person that you're supposed to be in this lifetime. Cellular memory is there. We can work with that. It's very hard. It's very, very difficult to get into it and find out where the source of that is, but it can be done over time. How do we do that? Well, I do it mostly through meditation. You can do it through other forms of work, with being shadow work. You can work with a mentor to just get you started on your spiritual path. But keep in mind, it's all you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It really is all you. You have to question yourself. You have to say, what can I do differently? That's the beginning of changing it. Cellular memory becomes your core beliefs, your core ideas, the way you work. And the only way to change that and be able to accept and see the guidance that you're being given is to make the decision to change you. Now, when you change yourself, you feel like oftentimes that you're not getting anywhere. You feel that you're running on a treadmill and not going anywhere. to change, if you really want to be the spiritual being that you are, if you really want to learn something in this lifetime, then it's time to make a certain change. Now that change doesn't have to be astronomical. It's the first part of that is just making that decision. That decision that you made, then you can act on it. Now, if you make that decision and don't act on it, you're just going back into the same old, same old. You know, if you choose to be the victim, if you choose to be the person that wants to put out bad energies, you're going to get those back. If you choose to blame everybody else for what's going on in your life, then you're going to get that. You're going to get the lower energies back. But if you just choose one little time to start to raise your energy level, to start to say, okay, maybe there's something I can change that will bring out something better for my life. Doesn't have to be big at the beginning. It just has to be a change. It can be something as simple as, you know what? I'm not going to talk about this today. I'm not going to blame this person for something. I made the choice to put myself in that situation. So I have a part in this too. So let's look at our part in it. Don't worry about other people's parts. Let's look at our part in it and see why we haven't put our part somewhere else. What is my part in the fact that I want to play the victim role? What is my part in the fact that every time I go to work, I'm getting in trouble? Or I feel like I'm getting in trouble and I want to blame somebody else for saying that this is the way it was. Just make a small change and see how the ripple effect works. We then can start looking at how do we go about, and you'll find as you make those small changes, you'll find an inspiration to go to the next level. That might mean to find a spiritual mentor that you can speak with. There are spiritual mentors anywhere in this world. Anywhere in your town, you can find one. If you're in a small town and you don't have one, then you can find one within a reasonable amount of area. Almost always, at least in the United States. So, and they're not there to tell you what to do. They're there to guide you on your path. Maybe that guidance is through a book. Maybe that guidance is through YouTube. There are a lot of good people out here. These people out here on YouTube really have a lot to say and really can help you a lot. The books that are printed are a plethora of information. I've done a lot of reading. That's where I get a lot of my information from. And I look at the old books. I look at the books of the people who couldn't be there for the money because they were too far ahead of themselves, and the people that they wrote about were saying, you know, I don't care what other people think. I'm writing this. I need to get this out there. Those are the kind of books I like to read because they don't have an agenda. I don't want to read a book necessarily that I can think might have an agenda. But the point that I'm making is that there's a plenty of information out there. You can go to the library and get these books if you don't have the money to buy them. You don't have to have a lot of money to start this path. You don't have to. I didn't have any money when I started this path. I had a friend who had a book and I borrowed it. And I read it. And then that got me started on this path that I'm on today. Now, I have to say that was not the beginning of my path. That was just the beginning of my intensive path that I think that we'll get into in another video or so. I want to really give you my background. So, you don't have to have a lot of money. You have the two biggest things that I really believe, that can help you the most in your path. is praying to your higher power and meditating. Praying is you talking to your higher power. Meditating is you listening to your higher power. It's a two-way conversation. Without one, you don't get all the information. If you don't pray and tell them what you're wanting, if you don't pray them and ask for the guidance, if you don't pray them and thank them for what they've given you, the food on your table, the clothes on your back, the roof over your head, thank them for what you do have, and ask them for the guidance and the understanding and the clarity and the acceptance of what's going on, then sit down and listen to it. Meditate. Meditating by itself, which people push a lot of meditation these days, meditation by itself does not have as complete of an effect as praying and meditating. For both have to be done in order to have a two-way conversation, in my opinion. So that's free. That's as free as you can get. You can start this path for absolutely no money. You can start this path for whatever it is. You can go, if you have $20 to go buy a book that you're inspired by, then go buy it. If you can get that same book at the library, go get it. If you can borrow it from your friend, go get it, and it doesn't cost you anything. So don't let cost be part of it. All these YouTube videos are free. There are all kinds of videos out here today that you can watch for free. Don't let society keep you from doing what your path is. Be guided. Listen to the guidance. Try to change that cellular memory just a tad bit to see where you can go. You have to make the decision. Each one of us has to make the decision to change our ways in order to get where we're supposed to go. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's a simple idea, but it's not easy. You don't get this overnight. This takes a process so much so that it's a life-changing thing. You know, all you have to do is just look at how can I change my routine just a little bit today. Instead of getting up, getting your coffee made, going to the shower, getting yourself ready for work, putting your makeup on, or straightening your hair, or fixing your beard, whatever it is. If that's your routine, fine. Take one little piece of that and say, okay, today I'm going to spend an extra 5 minutes and I'm going to pray. Or I'm going to sit down and just relax and let things come into me from the universe for 10 minutes, half an hour. Let it happen. Just take a few extra minutes to accept what the universe has to give you. You know, when I first started these videos, I really wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. It was several years ago that these videos, I was introduced to making a video, and I thought, that's not for me. And then I said to my wife, I said, you know, maybe someday, but I'm not doing it till I'm guided. That was probably 2.5 years ago. I wasn't guided to make these videos yet. But I had the idea that it could be there. So don't, just because you have an idea, wait for the guidance, wait for the right time to do those things. Don't rush into things that are not ready for, you're not ready for yet. But at the same time, don't deny things that you are ready for. And take that chance, become vulnerable. When you become vulnerable, you grow the most. You might get a little bit of hurt, but you grow the most. I'm being very vulnerable right here because I've never spoke like this before. I've never put myself out there. And I'm going to become more vulnerable because I'm going to do a lot more things here, and I'm not going to be, I've been all worried about presentation when I did these things, and I'm going to stop worrying about the presentation. I'm going to start thinking about who am I, what do I need, what do I have to offer you. So if I come out here in overalls, which is my normal garb when I'm at home, if I come out here in overalls and talk to you, that's because that's what I'm doing. That's me. If if you see me out hiking, that's me. If you see me out gardening, that's me. If you see me out working on a car, that's me. If you see, I just do a lot of stuff, and I want to portray myself. I don't want to be a person that just is a presenter. I want to be the person that shows you that the normal, everyday person that has to do, that has these things to do, can be just as spiritual as the spiritual guides, as the spiritual clergy, whatever you want to call it. You see, it doesn't matter whether you're what most people consider the low man on the totem pole or the top. We all are spiritual. We all have the same spirit world. It takes all of us to make this go around. If you go into a restaurant and you want to eat dinner and you're an executive and you start looking down on all these people, it's just a waitress. Well, you know what? You're not going to eat dinner without that waitress there. You're not going to eat dinner without that dishwasher. Or you could, I suppose, you could eat dinner off of dirty plates. Just as a waitress and a dishwasher can say, you know, without the guidance of my boss, I wouldn't have this job. You see, we all have a spot, but we have to follow our guidance as to what it is and not judge the other people as to what they're doing. So let's go ahead and just change one small thing in our lives this week. See what it is that we can do to raise our vibration just a little bit and watch it grow. Watch it grow, and we'll do this together. Thank you so very much for watching this video. If you liked it, press the subscribe button, ring the bell, hit the like button. But the most of all, I hope you got something out of this video. Make the comments if you did. And even if you didn't, make a comment so I know where I can go next. But thank you so very much for watching this. You are the reason I'm out there, is to touch you, to see if you can be the person that you should be, and to try and give you an idea of what to do. So thank you again so very much. Until next time, let's try to live our life every moment in a spiritual way. I'll see you on the next video.